Because you can try to explain it to someone, hey, I'm tasting this pleasure that's unlimited and you're just tasting this pleasure that's temporary. How do you explain that to someone?
When we come to the Krishna consciousness movement, we enjoy things like eating and sleeping. Overeating and oversleeping. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. And Srila Prabhupada explains to us in his purports, in his books, that when we take up this process of devotional service, if we actually can do it in the proper state of consciousness, where we're rendering it, out of love for God, He will give us the topmost pleasure, the topmost bliss. We're not actually receiving this when we come to Krishna consciousness without applying the process and taking it up. And until we reach a purified way, then the topmost pleasure, knowing that the topmost pleasure is this Krishna consciousness, will not come. But we can actually tell, Srila Prabhupada gave us the example that we can tell that we're actually getting a taste and tapping into this higher taste that the great saintly people talk about by actually how much the taste for sense objects remains. So when somebody starts to do things no longer for themselves in everything they do, they're doing everything for the pleasure of the devotees and for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then naturally Krishna awards a taste, and he simultaneously he awards remembrance and forgetfulness. So he starts awarding more remembrance of him, and he starts awarding this forgetfulness of the lower tastes that we have, like oversleeping and overeating and engaging in the gross bodily sense pleasures. So this is the best way to explain this to somebody, that it is actually a scientific process, and this is how you can prove to yourself that Krishna consciousness is the topmost spiritual path, and it's the highest thing that we can actually do with this rare form of human life. This Harinam Sankirtan movement is the highest thing that we can possibly be doing with our time, residing in a holy dham and doing everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead awards the highest bliss. And how do we know? Well, when we actually start practicing it out of loving devotion, then we get the higher taste, and then the need to do these lower things dissipate. Are there any more questions? Yeah, Jagannath Prabhu.
Haribo. Thank you for doing the class today. I was just wondering, because Maharaj was making this comment about the soul. He was making the comment about how the soul goes from different species, and something like that. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was saying that the what and therefore thinks that, what if someone doesn't believe in the existence of the soul and therefore thinks that this life is meant for enjoying, since we're not coming back anyway? What is the correct response to this? Do you want me to repeat it again?
I think I understood the question.
Okay.
Does everybody else understand the question? Okay. So, for instance, in the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, we were just hearing that there was this, I forget his name. Does anyone remember? Well, he was saying, I think this, I think this. No, this is we read in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. He was saying I think like this, Srila Prabhupada, or I think like that, and Srila Prabhupada would get furious, because actually, what does it matter what you think, If somebody chooses to believe the truth, or chooses to believe illusion, that's up to them. It's up to us to give them the knowledge so they can choose between truth and illusion, but it's up to them to choose illusion, If somebody chooses not to believe in the existence of the soul, that's their choice. Krishna gives free will, you know. We can try to convince them, but it doesn't matter what they choose to believe. It doesn't have an effect on the absolute truth. Any other questions? Okay, we have like 5 more minutes or so. So, Srila Prabhupada he's mentioning that we're busy identifying with the things in relation to this body, thinking, this is mine, this is me, and this is mine, and these are my family members, and this is where I came from, and I went to this school, and I grew up in this state, and therefore, you're also from Michigan, then I'm going to be your friend. You're also Indian, I'm going to be your friend. You also like the Detroit Lions, I'm going to be your friend. But the thing is all of these things in relation to where we are born, and the position we're given in relation to our family, and I'm American, I'm brahmachari, I'm sannyasi, I'm naham vipro nacha nara patir. I'm none of these things. I'm a servant, I'm das anudas anudas. I'm not any of the varnas, I'm not any of the ashrams, I'm not American, I'm not white, I'm not black, I'm a spirit soul, and I got put in this body because of my karma, and there's mitigating factors to us coming to this Krishna consciousness movement. Judging by the soul's adhikar, he's able to perceive different things even before he comes to meet the monks. And Krishna gives him the opportunity. Some people, when they hear about this, they were already living a spiritual life for many years, and they showed Krishna. Krishna kept giving, not that they showed Krishna, but Krishna kept giving them the opportunity to see him. And the person actually was seeing it as this, because their adhikar is thus, according, to their level of spiritual advancement when they're given this body. So we're put in these bodies, and then we have all these situations that happen to us in life. And every single situation that is happening, Krishna is arranging. He wants us to come back to him. So for everyone, the case is Krishna is trying to fulfill their desires, but he's ultimately trying to get them to come back to him. And for instance, here's a story illustrating this topic. There's a boy, he's in class, and a girl, they're both in class together, they're 5th graders, and they're hearing attentively from the teacher, and the boy, he's sitting behind the girl. The boy is chewing gum, and he takes his gum out, and he sticks it in the girl's hair that is sitting in front of him. And she's so much thinking of the class, she doesn't notice that the boy behind her stuck gum in my hair. So she goes home that day, and she's getting home from school, and she's brushing her hair out, and she finds that there's gum in her hair, and she's furious, as you can imagine you would be. And the first thing that comes to her mind is that boy that was sitting behind me. He's such a rascal. Why did he do that? She's like completely furious. She can't stop thinking about this boy. She's just like furious. I'm going to get back at him. She's thinking of all these ways that she can get back at him. I'm going to get revenge. But then she decides, no, I think I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to avoid him tomorrow. And then she goes into school. She sits on the other side of the classroom, away from where she usually sits. And the boy, he's sitting in the same spot, so she's thinking, I'm safe. They're going on in the middle of the class and, absorbed in the teacher's lecture. And then the boy, he starts crunching up paper from his notebook and rolling it into spitballs and spitting it at the girl. She ignores the first couple, but one hits her right on the cheek and she just loses it. She knows it's that boy, but she composes herself, She goes home the next day. Life goes on like this. He just keeps teasing her and she doesn't open up. And then one day he brings her flowers and he says, actually, I've been doing this because I like you. And everything changes. She's all of a sudden in love with this boy. They end up getting married. This is an example of what Krishna is actually doing to us all the time. Krishna is constantly spitting spitballs at us, and he's constantly putting gum in our hair. But it's up to our adhikar, our level of spiritual realization, to be able to see that actually all these circumstances Krishna is sanctioning, and they can all be used to come closer to him and think about him. But instead I'm seeing it as something horrible that's happening to me. What did I do to deserve this? Or these are some intricacies of karma. People say, why do good things happen to bad people? But they don't know what the soul has done in the previous lives. It's not that is the case. Everything happens for a reason, because of some reaction, some action that we did in the past that we can perceive now or not. But when you take to devotional service, you carry out all these different karma points, and yeah, if Jesus said we'll be lucky if we open this Bhagavatam within the next 24 hours. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.